All right. Shalom, shalom, beloved friends and family, brothers and sisters. Welcome to House of Rest, where we're in a good season and time to be alive, alive, alive. And I just want to welcome you to day 104. Day 104. This is part 13 of the series Be Encouraged. And guys, I just realized that I made a boo-boo on my slide. So we'll be using Blue Letter Bible to kind of read off of. So I know that most of y'all always have your scriptures with you anyway. So starting from I left out verses 21 through 25 on the slide. So I actually just realized that upon hitting the start button. So we'll use Blue Letter Bible to kind of walk us through it, which is kind of cool because we already had the Strongs up. So we could kind of go through it, and just go through that. But a couple things that just I've been, praying about and seeking y'all about, and just on just all the stuff that we see happening. I like to try to talk and just go over things that we see happening on our day-to-day basis, and it's so many people that still it's sad, but there's so many people still in fear. And I'm listening to messages that's coming out of the body, and some of the messages are encouraging, and then some of the messages are not gonna say that they're trying to fear monger, but it's not Messiah centered. It's not centered on Messiah to we should be giving hope. We should be giving hope. We should be helping others recognize that there is something to live for, that there's no reason to allow yourself to be so focused on cut off the TV, cut off the news, cut off all that other stuff, social media, all that other stuff. Stop listening to that. And what are people of the world that is trying to find, you know what I'm saying? They're trying to find the thing that gets them out. Because remember, they still have a hole, or where we had our hole at, they still got that hole where they're trying to find, and they're trying to find that something to fill it. And we all know what that something is. It's Yahushua Mashiach. We all had that hole, and it was like no matter what we did, that hole was not being filled. And imagine now, a secular person or a carnal person, let's say it like that, a carnal person that mind is going 100 miles per hour, because in their mind, they want to depend on the government to take care of them. They want to depend. They're trying to figure out how they're gonna, get that next meal. They're trying to figure out how they're gonna do this and how they're gonna do that. Versus us, we depend totally. We allow y'all to guide us. Even when we find ourselves getting in that moment of disarray, we know that we have to stop. We know that we have to stop, and that we have to go and seek Him, so that He could tell us what we need to do. Now, something that I was talking to Tameka about, and I kind of mentioned it to Lee, is so weird because at times I question if I'm really truly being led by the Ruach HaKodesh, because when I go and I see that people in the body are giving a message, but their message is totally directing this way. You know what I mean? And it's like, am I not on accord with what the Ruach is speaking? And so I don't say that anybody is being led wrong, because I know it's the Ruach that when he directs, he may have different plans for everybody. You know what I mean? But when I begin to question my ability as far as walking in this walk, to know whether I'm giving the right message, whether I'm speaking the proper truth, because there's only one way, there's only one truth, there's only one life. And so if I'm outside of that perimeter, I asked the Father to reveal it to me, right? And guys, that's something that I also, that's why I said sometimes we have to cut out the media. Sometimes we have to cut out the social media because it's so many different things just swirling and taking place that it could really mislead people, and that's why I'm not, brothers and sisters, listen. Sometimes I just sit and I overthink things. First off, I overthink things and I get into the point where I will think about things days ahead of time, and it hasn't even got here yet. And I was telling Tameka, I said it's like I don't never rest. Even I mean, and not saying that I don't find resting Yahusha, but it's work. If I'm not thinking about work, then I'm trying to focus on how to make sure that the videos are dropped for the ministry, that the thumbnails are made properly, that what we're doing isn't misleading anybody, you know what I mean. And so I told her on Friday, is like I'm constant, and nothing against it. I love, I don't mind having to do for my wife, but she can't. The doctor declared that she's not supposed to be driving, right? Because of many ailments that she has. So I mean, of course, we gotta make sure that we have things, we gotta make sure that we do things. So I try to make sure that, I get up, we go do what we have to do, but it's still, it's like time flies by. And not saying that I don't really matter on the personal time thing. It's just getting things done, and everything always seemed to be like bumped back together. You know what I mean? But the thing I love about my wife is she's supportive, and she always encouraging me. She always helping me continue to look toward the right way. And a lot of times I get confirmation through things, just through a word, because she may not even know what I spoke on, right? She don't know. I don't go out there and tell her what I spoke on. She wait till 8 o'clock to hear it, just like everybody else do. But she been on, gave me confirmation. I'd be like, okay, But it's just so many different things happening. And then you get a message out of the body that's saying, do this and go here. And then you get another message that's saying, hey, it's time to do this and go here. And then you got another one, that's saying, hey, the raptures are gonna happen before this happened. And then you got another one, that is arguing against the rapture and going again. And it's just, like, what? Is this the enemy's plan? Is that part of his wiles and his schemes to get everybody to think that the way that they're being directed is the right way? And so I question things like that, and I don't never put myself above above reproach, above being corrected, above being told, hey man, this is off key, or even being told that, hey, I'm praying for you, that you whatever it is that's being brought to my attention. I always, it's hard to explain this. I have always done this, second guess myself. Right? When I was getting in the police academy, trying to get into the police academy, one of the guys that was doing my test, he said, man, you had a majority of the answers right, and you second guessed yourself. He said, I could see where you erased this answer to put this answer. He said, and this is something that helped me later on. He said, stop second guessing yourself, because 9 times out of 10, your first answer is always right. And I was just like, wow. And he was a cop that he just talked to me, and he's supposed to just let me leave after I get done. But he stopped and he talked to me and said, man, listen, I had issues when I first did it too. And I was the one that always second guessed myself. And I'm like, thinking to myself, y'all, what's the odds of you placing this guy? Because he wasn't even supposed to be there that day. He stepped in to help for somebody else. And I said, y'all, what is the odds of you placing this guy right here? Even if it was just for that purpose, for me to hear him say, stop second guessing yourself. So bringing that up is because every time I begin to second guess myself, I think about that guy. And I mean, I see his face clear as day where he tells me, stop second guessing yourself. And so I even, think back to the way that I grew up in ministry, the way that, the things that were taught that I had to remove. And so I look at how with the mainstream Christianity, how so many people, and I'm not saying that we have it 100% right just because we keep Torah, we keep Sabbath, we got away from Christmas, we got away from Easter, because deep down, I know there are still things that we all are still working on. But I question things like when they're giving messages, right? And that messages could be spot on with stuff that's being revealed to you. And I'm like, so how do we in the days to come, how do we coincide? How do we know who we could trust? And the answer is simple. Yah said, I told you, it's by their fruits, right? You shall know them by their fruit. And so instead of us looking at the outward appearance of people, whether it's our brothers and sisters that have not given up Easter and Christmas and all that stuff yet, we have to look at them like Yah looks at them, and that's at their heart, right? Because we have many brothers and sisters that has not come to that knowledge yet. I think Yah will awaken them in the days to come. We have family members that have not awakened yet, and yet Yah is he not powerful enough to get their attention. And so in the days to come, and guys, listen, not in any way am I discouraged. I'm reading what I read over the scripture today, right? As we go into the scripture, this kind of made me think about things. It made me wonder, because it talks about how when evil and troubles have befallen them, right? they're gonna go astray because they're gonna feel like Yah is not with them. And not only that, it's gonna be because they have already broken the covenant, right? And so it was making me think about how when we read scripture, and you always see that point where right before they went astray, is because they went astray when they started believing the lie of another Elohim, of another another way that you can get outside of keeping the commandments of Yah, right? Every time, right before they go astray. And it makes me think about how Messiah feels to see us turn our back on him, not him turning his back on us, right? And it makes me like how he has set up a system for our flesh to witness against us, our works of testify against us. It's just certain things in operation that we don't look at, we don't pay attention to. And so when Yahusha gave the message on the seeds, right? The parable of the sower and the seed. And he talked about those set of seeds that would receive the word, and then Satan would come along and just take the word from their heart. He would just take the word, from their heart where it never set. Those are the mockers, the scoffers, the unbelievers. You know, the heathen, the ones that doesn't even have a. You know, they rather believe that in New Age religion and all that different type of stuff because that you know they just they don't want to be weighed. They feel like they're being weighed down by commandments and serving y'all, right? And then you had those that come along, and they do receive the word and they receive it with joy. With joy, guys. They receive it with joy. And yet when tribulation and evil come their way, they can't even endure. They can't even hold on because they were fed fed ramby pamby. They were fed cake and ice cream instead of a sound word that tells us that we have to suffer with him. That tells us that the straight and narrow road is not an easy road to walk down. That tells us that this race isn't given to the strong or the swift, but to him that endure unto the end. Guys, I have seen people that preach the sound word that has fallen away. I have been up under people that I'm not gonna say I worshiped him, but he was a mentor and his his teaching, how he would teach, it helped give me insight, to look deeper, to get into the word. I remember he did a message called Try the Word. And he said, whenever you find yourself at a place where your life is in disarray, whenever you feel like that you don't know what to do, he said, repeat Yah's word back to him and tell him what he told you through your scripture. You rehearse the scripture to him and remind him. He said you don't have to remind him, but just tell him what his word tells you that you have in store for you. And that did numbers for me. That did numbers for me. It helped me a long way to look into my word a little bit more, to get a little bit deeper into my word. And he always said, read your word for yourself. It ain't just a Sunday thing. And yet something happened within him that caused him to be like that to be like that. And guys, I tell you, it because he put family above the needs of serving Yah. And when we do that, whether it's somebody close to us, whatever the case is, that makes you just like that seed that was choked out because tribulation and evil came your way and you weren't able. Listen to this. It ain't that it's because you lost trust in him. You didn't believe him that he would keep you through the midst of the storm. It's because you didn't believe, and not you per se, but the person that gave up before they even got to see him operate. That's what happened. We give up before we get to see him operate. And then what we do is we get so comfortable. That's what we're learning right here. We get so comfortable. I'm gonna put it on the screen real quick. We get so comfortable with our lives that we fail to train our children. We fail to teach them, because the first thing that society tells us, and that goes all the way back in time, is that I don't want my children to live the same way I did. I don't want them to go through what I went through. So I'm gonna do my best to build this. I'm gonna do my best to build that. So when the time comes, they don't have to work as hard. And all we do is we raise spoiled brats. But you have some people, right, that allows their children to go through the same hardships that they went through. And you know what that does to that child? It makes them strong. It helps them to persevere. It helps them to become an independent thinker, right? And when I say independent thinker, it is not man that sways the mind. It's when you listen to the Ruach and you hear it. You hear the word of Yah yourself. And you're not swayed just because of a video. You're not swayed just because somebody sounds good or because of the title or because of who they are. But you're moved through the Ruach HaKodesh when Yah himself speaks to you. When Yah himself speaks to you. That's what happened. Remember, Paul, he was Saul of Tarsus at the time. He was persecuting the Jews and he would go, but Yah stopped him along his path and he spoke to him. And at first, he was swayed by his conviction of being a Pharisee and being taught by Torah and just like, hold on, he had to go. He had to go against his former teachings. But this is the awesome thing: when Yah spoke to him and he knew it was Yah, he immediately went into prayer and even though he was blind 3 days and ate nothing, Yah began to converge with him and enter into his heart. And it was at that moment when Yah changed him, right? He had a change of heart. And so, guys, there are many out there. My point is saying all that, there's many out there that still keeps Christmas and Halloween and all that different type of stuff. And yet it's because the truth have not fully been revealed to them yet. But Yah, just like that light that hit Paul, will one day, in the midst of all this, awaken them. And it's going to show, right? It's going to show whether they're that seed that when tribulation and trials come, if they're the ones that are willing to still stand for Yah, or if they're going to fall away and just be a part of the system. It's going to prove whether they're independent thinkers and whether they're swayed by the words of man or swayed by the word of Yah, right? So, guys, let's jump into it. Right? Wrong one. Okay. See? All right. So let's jump here real quick. All right. So, and it shall come to pass. Well, let's go back up to verse 20. Look what he said. For when I have brought them into the land, which I swear unto the fathers, that flow with milk and honey, and they shall have eaten and filled themselves and waxed and fat, then will they turn unto other gods and serve them and provoke me and break my covenant. Right? He said, and we go back to this. We see this, right? Because what are we supposed to be doing? We're supposed to be teaching our children. We're supposed to be giving them the mind and the heart to serve Yah fully. We're supposed to rehearse to them and give the testimonies of the things that we went through. I got notepads on top of notepads, journals, and Tameka got the same thing. And I encourage y'all, when we come to these sessions, don't write my words down. Write down the scriptures, right? And all the reference scriptures. And you allow Yah to speak to you through them. The purpose of doing these messages is so that you can become independent thinkers. Hallelujah. And so that you yourself can get into that word and you study at an immense pace to where, however you study, like me and Lee discussed it, we can't take in large amounts at a time. We have to bite bits and pieces. Hence, if y'all notice, I do 1 scripture at a time or 2 scriptures at a time. Never no more than that. Because when I do more than that, I always have to go back and take y'all back to one point in there. And that's because We have to be able to search these things out, and we have to let the Spirit be the one to guide us. Because if we try to do it another way, well, it's just vain, and I don't like being vain. I don't like vanity, right? And so what we seeing happen here, he said, I'm giving them a land flowing with milk and honey. I'm taking them to this place where I'm gonna place my name, where I promised Abraham, Isaac, and Yitzhak that this will be their possession. And he took them there. He did it. He kept his promise, right? He kept his promise, and yet the people, again and again, they're not independent thinkers. They're swayed by what the other nations were doing around them, right? They wanted what they had, but they already had more than what they needed. And all they had was a little sliver of land. All these other nations got huge land, but most of their land is barren and waste. Or they just had one resource that was a supplement. They had many natural resources that took care of them. It said when they brought the grapes back, the grapes were so big, right? You can make a bottle of wine with one grape. Guys, look at what it says. It says, "For when I shall have brought them into the land which I swear, I made this promise, I'm gonna do it unto their fathers that flow with milk and honey." Remember what we talked about? That is the goodness, the prosperity, or abundance of all things, right? And honey, lavish, good lifestyle. You ain't gonna want for nothing. And they shall have eaten and filled themselves and waxed and fat. I mean, guys, if you don't see a replication to this with America and any other free, predominantly free type of country that you have, man, they said they will turn into other Elohim. And what have we done? We place Astaroth in New York, right? That been there for forever. You got Astaroth sitting in New York. You got the Lady Justice sitting on every courthouse. You have a pentagram in Washington, D.C. You have, the Ark of Baal, in different places. They have erected, right, the Baphomet statue everywhere, took down the Ten Commandments. Well, what is it that we are not noticing here? That our country took a turn when they begin to remove the Ten Commandments. Our country took a turn when they begin to remove prayer from school. Our country took a turn when we removed Yah. When we removed Yah from being the main source, right? And so now we serve and we provoke him because we have broken covenant, right? We have broken covenant. What is the Declaration of Independence state? That the God of the God of the world, and not talk about devil. Yahuwah. It is declared that we made a covenant with Yahuwah, right? But look here, verse 21. And it shall come to pass when many evils and troubles are befalling them, that this song, listen to this guy. Remember we talked about it's going to be a song of Moses. It's going to be a song of Moses. And guess what? If I'm not mistaken, that same song of Moses will be sung in the end times because it's going to be a witness against the people. If I'm not mistaken, I think. I like to make sure I had this stuff. I thought I saw the Song of Moses somewhere else besides. I thought I saw it, and that might be the Song of the Lamb that I'm thinking about in Revelation. No, Song of Moses and the Lamb. Okay. Yeah, the Song of Moses and the Lamb. Revelation 15. So Revelation 15, let's go there real quick. Revelation 15. Let's go there. Revelation 15, verse 3. I thought I saw it before. I normally, okay. Watch this, guys. And they sing the song of Moses. Now, this is important because Yah is telling Moshe to teach them this song, to be a witness against, to testify against them as a witness, for it shall not be forgotten out of their mouths, right? And the reason that he's telling them to teach it as a witness against them is because when they have forsaken, when they have broken the covenant. So let's see what happens here in the book of Revelation. And they sang the song of Moshe, the servant of Yahuwah, and the song of the Lamb, saying, great and marvelous are the works Yahuwah Elohim say, but oh, just and true are your ways, King of the CASHAPP. Who shall not fear you, O Yahuwah, and glorify your name? For you only are holy, for all nations shall come and worship before you. For your judgments, listen to this, guys, your judgments are made manifest. Whoa. His judge, meaning that his judgments are gonna they're taking place. And so when that song is testifies, it's letting them know when these judgments come, remember this song, because I gave you something as a witness. And so, guys, I'm gonna learn the song of Moses so that way we could continue and we could rock Kazakamatz through it. You know, we got to rock Kazakamatz because it's those that recognize y'all, they're gonna be singing that song. The saints will be singing that song, and the rest of the world that's being judged. And I don't want to see anybody judged or condemned for wrongdoing, but there is injustices in this world. There are injustices and people that have done things over periods of time that have just been illegal and got away with it, getting away with it. Why? Because everything has become corrupt. Remember what we talked about in that series with the covenant and the oath, where so many people take oaths, but they don't uphold them. They sign the agreement, but they don't uphold it. Why? Because they take money. They love the money more than they love to do the things to serve properly. And when you look into how a lot of this child sex trafficking takes place in the human trafficking, most of the time is through the foster care system and the child protective services. So look at that. So guys, okay. So it said, and it shall come to pass when many evils and troubles are befallen them, and that this song shall testify against them as the witness, for it shall not be forgotten out of the mouths of their seed. For I know their imagination, which they go about. Even now, they even then they will have a sick imagination about things. Before I have brought them into the land which I swear. Right? Moshe therefore wrote this song the same day. The same day. It didn't take him no time. He wrote it the same day and taught it the children of Israel and taught it to the children of Israel, right? And then turns around and said, and he gave Joshua the son of Nun, right, a charge and said, be strong, right? Kazakamas, be strong and of good courage. Kazakamas, rock Kazakamas. For thou shalt bring the children of Israel into the land which I swear unto them, and I will be with them. Right? Let's stop right there. So look what it says right here. And it came to pass when, and it shall come to pass, right? That's Rob. And it's basically saying when many evils, because that's what it is pertaining to the word many. Rav, Strong's H7227, right? So that's what it's saying. When many evils, Ra'ah or Ra. So remember what that means. Strong's H7451. Evil, worse, right? Bad or wicked, ethically. So look at that. And troubles, Sarah, straits, distress. So remember when Yahusha said the straight and narrow path, right? Distress, trouble. So are befallen, Strong's H4672. That's matzah. And so it says that word befallen, to find, attain, to, right? Acquire, get, detect, guess, happen upon, meet, fall in with, to be found, to be in possession of, right? So look at that. All right. And then it says, befalling them that this song shall testify. Now we're gonna look at that word testify. Strong's 86030. Ana, right? To answer, respond, testify, speak, or shout. Well, to be answered, receive answer, to make an answer, to testify, respond. Here we go. Respond as a witness. So you remember they have a witness come up to testify, to tell what that to bring testimony against that person, or to testify that that person did not, that they weren't there. Sometimes they call that an alibi, right? But in this case, it'll be testify against them, right? Strong's H6440. Now look at that. It means panim. So that's the one that could mean face, right? To testify against, or toward, to testify toward them. So look at it like that. To testify toward, that they, to put them in that place. Like, yeah, they were there. This is that person, right? As a witness, Strong's H5707, odd, or id, or aid, evidence of things. So it'll be like a testimony, right? Testimony. As a witness, for it shall not be forgotten, so that they shouldn't forget it. Shachach, right? It shouldn't be ignored. It shouldn't be ignored, or to cease to care. You know how it is when it comes to certain things. We'll act like we don't remember. Out of the mouths of their seed. That's strong. The mouths is strong. 6310. That's actually pe, right? Mouth, extremity, part of the body. Of their seed. Zara, their offspring, right? Descendants. So the children to come. So we're supposed to rehearse this. He said, for I know, Strong's H3045, yada, right? I know, to know, learn to know, perceive, to perceive and see. And y'all remember at times it would say that Yahusha perceived the heart of them before they even said anything. He would, perceive their heart, and then he would then go forth to tell them to speak their heart. And so this is what y'all saying. So I perceive their imagination, right? Yatser, the framing or the framework of what they're already thinking. And then look what it said, graven image. Device, intellectual framework. So in other words, saying conception. Like, you know how you conceive a thought, and then once that it goes forth, how's it go? I think it's in James. Let's see if I can find it real quick. I think that will be a good one to kind of give us insight to that. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Okay, so James chapter 1, verse 15, it says, then when lust has conceived, right? So in other words, the imagination, because we could think about something too hard or want something so much that it leads our imagination to begin to bring forth other thoughts and purposes, you know. So what is he saying? When it talks about conception, it says, well, then lust has conceived, it brings forth sin. And sin, when it is finished, right? Once it is birthed, it brings forth death. So think about it like that. Because that's what they're doing. They're bringing death to themselves when they break the covenant. They go outside of the perimeters of Yah, which they go about even now, before I have brought them into the land which I swear. So let's cover the references on that real quick. So let's look at Hosea chapter 5. Guys, Hosea chapter 5, and I'll bring that screen back up. Hosea chapter 5, verse 3. Look what it says. I know Ephraim and Yasharel is not hid from me. For now, O Ephraim, you commit whoredom, and Yasharel is defiled. Right? And Yasharel is defiled. Then look at Hosea chapter 4, verse 17. And look what it says. It says, Ephraim is joined to idols. Let him alone. Right? It's saying that Ephraim has joined the idols. So this go back to what I was saying about our brothers and sisters that are in that walk in mainstream Christianity, still keep Easter, still keep Christmas and all that stuff. But we have to let them alone, because later on it will be Yah, right? Because right now they're walking in the imagination of their own heart. They believe what they have been taught for traditions and years, through traditions and years, is correct. And so we have to stop. And there's still things, guys, that we are learning. We're still learning things about the Sabbath. We're still learning things about the feast days. We're still learning things that is teaching us how to walk properly. But that's where we take the time to stop, seek it out for ourselves. You know, when somebody brought it to my attention about because I was doing a message on Easter, but dude sent me a message on when I back when probably in 2015. He said, you're on the right path. He gave me a couple scriptures and said, look into this. And you know what? If I didn't start looking into it, then I would never find myself in the walk that I'm, in now. I would have, I wasn't celebrating Christmas or Easter. I got away from that, but it's still other things I wasn't doing properly. So with him doing that, it taught me how to, because I was keeping the Sabbath, but I was honoring the Sabbath, right? I was observing it, but I wasn't guarding it, because I would still go out and buy on the Sabbath. I wouldn't keep, I didn't keep a certain time between the Sabbaths. I just, considered Saturday the Sabbath and just did it that way. But I would still go buy, sell, or trade on the Sabbath. So I still wasn't properly doing that, but I began to look into these things myself. And so when he's saying that, start from go to verse 16 of Isaiah chapter 4. All right. It says, "For Yashael slides back as a backsliding heifer. Now Yahuwah will feed them as a lamb in a large place. Ephraim is joined to idols. Let him alone." Right. And so we have to realize that it's time that we're not going to be able to help those that we love. Only Yah can do it, right? And so we have to stand down, and we have to allow him to operate. We have to allow him to be the surgeon. When the scalpel can't tell the doctor when to use it. You know what I'm saying? The doctor has a certain period in time that's doing the surgery on when he needs to use the scalpel. After that, the scalpel may not have no other use. It may not have no other use after the first opening, you know. Now, you know, it's other tools that has to take place in the surgery. So look at it like that. All right, let's look at Matthew chapter 15. Matthew chapter 15, verse 14. Look what it says. "Let them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind. And if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch." Right? So he said, let them alone. Right? Because the blind be leaders of the blind. And if the blind if the blind lead the blind, both are going to fall in the ditch. Right? But now there comes a path of time where those people in the ditch are like the Samaritan, you know, or I mean, not the Samaritan, the guy that got, you know, beat down, and then the Samaritan comes along. Well, y'all will have a person come along that can throw a rope down to them once they have come to their senses, right? Once they have come to their senses and realize that they weren't doing what's right. They were they're in the ditch, and they keep doing is in that ditch is just, you know, the ditch ain't that big, and it's really interpreted a pit, kind of like when what Joseph got thrown in. And so if they're in a pit, they can only go in circles or from one side to the other, you know, want to get out, but they can't. So that's something that you keep in mind. Yah will do it in due season, right? I was in a ditch. I was blind, and being led by a blind, you know, blind leaders, and was in the ditch right there, you know, with them. Now let's look at another one, Luke 6:39, because he asked the question here, right? He said, and he spoke a parable unto them. Can the blind lead the blind? Shall they not both fall into the ditch? That he put it in question format there, right? So we keep that in mind, right? And then go back to Matthew chapter 23. Matthew chapter 23, verse 16. Woe unto you, ye be blind guides. Remember, this is Matthew chapter 23, verse 16. Woe unto you, you blind guides, which say, whosoever shall swear by the temple, it is nothing, but whosoever shall swear by the gold of the temple, he is a debtor. Verse 17, you fools and blind, for whether is greater, the gold or the temple that sanctifies the gold? Verse 18, and whosoever shall swear by the altar, it is nothing, but whosoever swears by the gift that is upon it, he is guilty. Verse 19, ye fools and blind, for whether is greater, the gift or the altar that sanctifies the gift? 20, whoso therefore shall swear by the altar swears by it and by all things thereon. 21, and whoso shall swear by the temple swears by it and by him that dwells therein. Verse 22, and he that shall swear by heaven swears by the throne of Yahuwah and by him that sits thereon. So verse 23, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye pay tithe of mint and anise of cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the Torah, right? Have omitted the weightier matters of the Torah, judgment, mercy, belief. These ought ye have done, and not to leave the other undone. Blind guides, verse 24, which strain at a net and swallow a camel. Verse 25, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye make clean the outside of the cup and the platter of the platter, but within they are full of extortion and excess. Full of extortion and excess. Verse 26, ye blind Pharisees, cleanse first that which is within the cup and the platter, that the outside of them may be clean also. Verse 27, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye are like unto whited sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead man's bones and of all uncleanness. Verse 28, even so ye also outwardly appear righteous unto men, but within ye are full of hypocrisy and iniquity. Verse 29, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the sepulchres of the righteous. Verse 30, and if we had been in the days of our fathers, we would not have been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. 31, wherefore ye be witnesses unto yourselves that ye are the children of them which killed the prophets. And then he said in verse 32, fill you up the measure of your fathers. 33, ye serpents, ye generation of vipers, how can you escape the damnation of Gehenna? Right? So, guys, I want y'all to recognize something. He said, you know, all righteousness must exceed that of the righteousness of the Pharisees. And when you think about it, the righteousness of the Pharisees were in their mind, in their hearts, right? They had it all together. They wasn't doing anything wrong. They didn't want to sit with the sinners. They didn't want to deal with this person. They didn't want to deal with that person. And I'm sorry, but that's what mainstream Christianity has become. They don't want to. Yeah, they put together, you know, someone put together food bank, someone do this, but you have some that are truly trying to do the Great Commission, but then you have some that are being misguided and think that, you know, a rapture is going to happen before the tribulation comes. Now, I'm starting to see that same thing happen in the Messianic or the Nazarene, whatever we call ourselves, the community, the Torah community. I'm beginning to see that same thing, you know, where we're, you know, it's not. And what was Yahusha saying when he said mercy, judgment, belief? He was saying that the focus should be on Yah. Our focus of worship should be on Yah. Our focus of our messages should be centered behind Messiah. And when we begin to start guiding and directing other ways, then we become the blind leaders of the blind, right? And we're just only putting stipulations on Yah, right? And let's look at Amos real quick. Let's look what Amos has to say. Amos chapter 5. Verse 25 and 26. Look what Amos says. He said, have ye offered unto me sacrifices and offerings in the wilderness 40 years, O house of Yasharel? That's a question now. But ye have borne the tabernacle of your Molech, and Kiyun, your images, the star of Elohim, which ye made to yourselves. Wow. When I read that, guys, that's something that I said I was definitely going to study over, because he said, Kiyun, your images, right? And then he said the star of your Elohim. Now remember, the what they call the Star of David is actually the Star of Remphan. And you hear about that in the scripture. But look what Yah was saying right there. Have he offered unto me sacrifices and offerings in the wilderness 40 years, O house of Yashar? But you have borne the time. So you worship me, you claim to be serving me, but yet you're going after other Elohim into their tabernacle. And it's kind of similar to what I was just saying there, you know, where the Pharisees, they made everything else the focus instead of Yahusha. being the focus and allowing him to give the directions, allowing him to open the eyes of the people. Listen, if Yah allows me to heal, it ain't me that's healing. It's not me. I always direct it back to him. When I'm giving a message, and believe me, we get comments all the time about how Yah, how the teaching is a blessing. I always say, glory go back to him. There's nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. It's him only. Right? Let's look at another one. First Kings. First Kings chapter 11, verse 33. All right, it says, because that they have forsaken me and have worshipped Ashtaroth, the Elohai of the Siddonim, Chemosh, the Elohai of the Moabs, and Malcolm, the Elohai of the children of Ammon, and have not walked in my ways to do that which is right in my eyes, and to guard my statutes and my judgments as David his father did. 34, howbeit I will not take the whole kingdom out of his hand, but I will make him prince all of the days his life for David, my servant's sake, whom I chose because he guarded my commandments and my statute. Right? And remember, that's when the division of the kingdom was coming between where it would be now the kingdom of Judah and the kingdom of Ephraim, or in other words, they call that Samaria. Yeah, sorry. The other 10 tribes will be up there. So that's what happened. When Yah is not there, then a division comes. And what do you see in our country? You see a division. And we know that a lot of that is being hand-fed, but who's ultimately behind that? We know that Yah is allowing it through his will, but we know that Hasatan plays a major role in manipulating the minds of the masses, right? Those that are independent thinkers, right? So look, 1 Samuel, let's look at that real quick, and then we're going to close out. 1 Samuel 7 and 3. And Samuel spoke unto all the house of Yashrael, saying, if you do return unto Eliyahu with all your heart, this is an encouraging word, guys. He said, if you do return unto Yahweh with all your hearts, then put away the strange Elohai and Ashtaroth from among you, and prepare, right? Prepare your hearts unto El Yahuwah and serve him only, and he will deliver you out of the hands. Right here, it says of the Philistines. But I'm going to say he will deliver you out of the hands of your enemy. Just prepare your heart to serve him only and serve him fully, right? Because he is going to honor the fact that you admitted and confessed your fault to him. Remember, he's righteous. He's righteous and just to cleanse us of all our sins that confess it before him. 1 John 1 and 8. Hallelujah. So guys, I thank y'all for joining up. As I said, this was something that was on my heart today, about how I just see so many different directions and things being brought forth. And as I said, I don't question nobody else. I question my ability on being properly led. So I ain't pointing at anybody. I'm just don't want to be one of those blind leaders of the blind. Like I said, when I was doing the study, that kind of stuck out to me. And I don't want to lead anybody into a ditch. I want us all to stay on that straight and narrow path. Because if you think about it, the ditches is on the side of the path. And I don't want to be in that path. I don't want to be on that ditch. And it's one thing to be just completely on the road, the broad path of destruction, right? But there's another thing to have fallen in the ditch. Hopefully there's somebody that come by that can help get us out, right? So when you hear the sound of the shofar, guys, I ask that you hit that like button. If you're enjoying this, hallelujah. So, guys, I thank y'all truly for joining up. And as you go forward in your night, your day, wherever you may be at, you just continue to prepare your hearts. Get whatever it is that we need to get right with y'all, because we are living in the days of evil. And even though we see how everything is playing out, the devil, I said the evil, the devil is frantic. He's discombobulated, and he's just operating, and now he's in fear, right? He's in fear because he know that the king is coming. So, guys, always remember to look up, for your redemption draw nigh. I love you. Yahuwah loves you. Don't forget to say thank you, Yahusha. Love you guys. We'll be talking soon. Shalom, shalom.